And there was this incident at the Israeli embassy, I think it was in June, something like that, when two Israeli staffers at the Israeli embassy were gunned down in the streets of Washington. You posted about it, originally saying, of course, you abhor the violence, you don't support killing of civilians, kind of rethought it, decided they weren't entirely civilians, they were diplomats with a government committing a genocide. Maybe there's some justification to it, all of which is constitutionally protected speech. And those posts kind of gave your critics a way to start pressuring Ohio State to take action against you and punishing you, and they proceeded to do that. What can you tell us about that whole incident, where things are with it, if you can tell us about anything?
Bear with me as I think about what exactly I'm allowed to say. But the ACLU is representing my case right now. Shout out to them, defenders of free speech in this country. And I want to make it clear that I am a nonviolent person. I don't commit violence. I don't incite violence with my platform. And I've never, ever said anything, posted any video, shared any message that goes towards that end of violence. I'm not encouraging of that. It would ruin my platform, obviously, in the way that they've tried to, paint me as this violent individual who's like a jihadi terrorist, a sleeper cell in the United States, influencing young Americans to follow these violent steps. So now that we've got that aside, I do want to mention that around the time when all this happened in the spring, I had launched this campaign. I actually went on what ended up being a 6-day hunger strike of my own, and raising money off of that and, the viral videos to launch our campaign on the ground in Gaza, which I mentioned previously, doing daily food distributions inside of refugee camps in a humane manner, not unlike these GHF death camps run by Israel and mercenaries from the United States. This campaign was gaining a lot of traction. And so I think it's not a coincidence that they took that moment as the opportune one to go after me and smear me with all these accusations, like in the New York Post, the Times of Israel, Haaretz, Jerusalem Post. Every single Zionist outlet in the United States, every single Israeli news outlet overseas, all posted the same story the same week about me, smearing me and trying to generate a harassment attack against me to throw me off of what I believe could have been even bigger than what we made it, distributing food to Gaza and raising awareness about it was 3 months of total starvation of the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip by Israel.
Yeah, and I just let me ask you before I move on to something else, just on this case, and to the extent that you can again. I mean, according to the ACLU releases, according to news articles about your story, and it's got to be weird having massive numbers of media outlets from, not just the United States, but around the world attacking you in such vicious ways when you're 18 years old, 19 years old, a freshman in college. It's kind of indicative of how desperate they are, especially when it comes to young Americans, to destroy any space to criticize Israel. But your school the Ohio State did in fact take action against you for those posts, right? And you do currently have either your enrollment suspended or actually expelled. Is that accurate based on, and if you can't talk much about it, of course I understand.
Yeah, that is accurate. I was an Ohio State University student, and they expelled me under pressure from various Zionist groups, forces, and including people in our government. Richie Torres, Pam Bondi are some names that were involved during this time. And they all kind of came together at the same time this smear campaign was being launched to get me kicked out of their school, which they folded and violated. In the case, what the public filing says is they violate, and it's true, they violated my First Amendment right and my right to due process.